Hello, everybody. This is Amanda Cooper, and in the studio with me today, I have Miss Melissa Sprouse Brown. She is the vice president of the Three Rivers Porsche Club of America. Did I say all of that right? Because it's a mighty long name.
That is almost right. That is almost right. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here today, and it is the Three Rivers Region Porsche Club of America. So the Porsche Club of America is one of the largest single-mark car clubs in the world. Crazy,
Wow.
right? Who knew there were so many Porsches and enthusiasts, but there are.
Well, you know, I'm a car enthusiast, and we've talked about this before. So having you come in today is like a treat, not just to see you, of course, but to see your car, of
Right.
course.
Oh, my gosh. So even this morning, this is hysterical. I was coming out of my garage in my neighborhood in West Columbia, and I don't think anything about it. I'm just backing my car out, and I come out onto the street, and there are some workers at the home next door cutting some trees. And I see the little heads pop around the trucks going, "What was that?" So I roll my window down, and the first guy said, "Oh, I wasn't expecting a Porsche to come out of there." And I heard it, and I thought, "Oh, maybe it's a Corvette." And I said, no, it is a Porsche. So I had to put it in park and rev it up a little bit, make it pop.
Well, it's all about the pop and talking about heads turning, engines popping and roaring. You're here, of course, to see us here at Midlands Media Group in Cola Daily.
My
But you're-
favorite.
Exactly. But you're also here because your organization is hosting a fundraiser next weekend.
Right. I can't believe we're about 9 days away, I believe, from the Speed and Beauty Concours d'Elegance, which is a benefit car show that the Porsche Club has put on for years. And it goes to help Camp Chemo, which is a program of Prisma Health for children with cancer. They do it every summer, and we've raised funds for them for a long, long time.
According to what you've shared in the past, this is just like a huge car show. This is not like Antique Row. I mean, these are like
No.
major muscles going to be on display next weekend, correct?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. We're going to be out at the Hunter-Gatherer, which is a brewery right beside Owens Field, downtown airport in Columbia. And last year we had 127 cars that were registered entrants, and they ran the gamut from just Ferraris, Lamborghinis, lots of Porsches. The British were out in full force with Jaguar and Aston Martin and Triumphs and anything you can think of. We had American Muscle, we had Corvette, we had Mustang, all kinds of really cool vehicles, some old, some new, some in between. And even this year, we've added a category for best restoration.
So when we talk about your car show that's coming up, it's more than just a bunch of cars. It's like high-end premium cars, new and restored cars. Is that the correct way to say it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you may hear people talk about barn finds and, oh, they found this car and it was in a, someone's barn or garage or found out in a field and they spent, lots of hours of love and labor on it and they've got it up to where they want it to be. So we see a few of those. Generally, in this particular show, though, we're seeing things that are mostly of the modern era. And so I brought my list of who is registered so far, and we've got some pretty neat stuff.
Okay, well, share the deets, Melissa. Share the deets.
Right. So I'm just going to give you just a little flavor of what it's going to be, right? So the first one on the list, which I think is really interesting, it's a 2011 Carbon Special Edition Z05 Corvette.
What?
And it is number 30 of only 252 examples. So that's pretty unique.
That is very unique.
Very unique. You know what? I have a special love of the Corvette. So when I met my husband, he had just gotten his 1999 C5 Corvette. It had been built to his specifications in Bowling Green, Kentucky, and shipped here for him. They called him when his car was born, which is cool, right? And he had just gotten this car. So this is a quick aside. I promise it's really quick, but it's worth it. He asked me out. He was very coy about it. It's like, oh, well, I guess you never go to lunch. I eat every day. Let's go to lunch. We had a nice lunch, and then we were going to go to the movies. So he picks me up in his new Corvette. And we go to the movies at Dutch Square, and it was Star Wars. And we sat in the front row, which my neck was killing me. So we come out of the theater and we're going to go downtown to have a meal. And he looks at me and said, "Hey, do you want to drive?" And I said, "Your brand new Corvette? Are you kidding me?" Yes, I absolutely want to drive. So we get in the car, and I'm terrified. Never driven anything that nice in my life. So, okay, we get in the car. We head out to I-26 to go downtown towards Columbia. And he said, why don't you give it a little gas? And I said, are you sure? And he said, yeah. Oh, my God. I put it on the floor. And so he's over there holding on with both hands, about to cry. And he tells everybody, I knew she was the one right then.
That's an amazing story.
Yeah, so,
wow.
We've shared our love of cars right from the get-go. But beyond the Corvette that's going to be there, we've also got a couple of Ferraris that are pretty unique. A 2013 California, so that's neat. This one I can't wait to see in person. I've never seen this one in person. A 2022 Ferrari F8. The F8 has like the fender flares that look like the 458 or the 488, but it's just a little bit more. So that should be unique. And, of course, every possible flavor of Porsche that you can imagine. People talk about there's just 911, right? Do you know how many 911s there are in terms of there's a 911S, a 911 Turbo, a 911 Cabriolet? You pick it, it's there. And, of course, the tippy top, the GT3, which is super hot. And, of course, my car will be there.
Oh,
I'm more of a baby in the Porsche world a little bit. I'm so happy to have my 2022 Cayman S, which is enough for me.
It's enough for anybody. And ladies and gentlemen, she's definitely understating this car. It is freaking amazing.
Oh, come on.
It's amazing.
It's cool, though, right?
It's very cool, yes.
It's very cool.
It's very cool. I mean, this is a great opportunity to see the cars that you see in magazines.
Oh, absolutely. We're also going to have, there's a 2013 Lamborghini Gallardo that is out there. But there's another Lamborghini that was on so many posters in the 80s on bedroom walls. We've got a 1983 Countach that's going to come.
Wow.
And that's classic Lambo right there.
Melissa, how do you just keep your mouth dry? I'll just be salivating all day just looking at these beautiful cars. Wow. And people can do the same next weekend. Now, for those who say, you know what, I got a pretty awesome car. Can I register my car to be in this car show?
Oh, absolutely. We are still taking registrations. And every year without fail, we take people as walk-ins. So we're limited by the space out at the Hunter-Gatherer. So there are physically only so many cars we can have. But if you'd like to register, we're on Eventbrite.com, and you can just search for Speed and Beauty Concours d'Elegance, or you can just search for Speed and Beauty if you don't want to try to spell all that, and it would let you register. Registration is only $30.
That's pretty awesome. So how many people do you guys estimate come on an annual basis?
We've not done a gate count. I mean, it's hundreds of spectators.
Wow.
And
so it's a large crowd.
It's a large crowd. And we're so lucky the Hunter-Gatherer is open for us that Sunday afternoon. So there's food and drink available. We've got a man who is doing our tunes, a great DJ named Eddie Sharon, who has just this really unique car-oriented playlist. So any car song you can think of, we have. And the cool thing that's a nice addition, we've done it, this is our second year. Would you like to take a ride in the vintage aircraft?
Oh, my God. Is that the fly-in part of this?
Yep.
I was going to ask you about that. So you get to take a ride in a vintage aircraft when you go to this car show?
You can. So what's cool about it, there is a really generous local man. His name is Rick Manti, who is the owner of Cola Wealth Advisors in Lexington. And he owns a stable of vintage aircraft. And he has so generously offered to give rides if people donate to the charity of Camp Chemo. Wow. So you can't give $5. I mean, it's a $300 deal, right, at a minimum. But it's all for the kids, right, for the charity, but you get to go up. And so last year he had a Stearman biplane. Wow. I mean, that thing was open. Scary to me, but cool for people who wanted to go up. So this year we have a PT-26 Roth Fairchild, which is a vintage trainer fighter.
Wow.
So we have a retired fighter pilot who will be taking people up and giving them the ride. I bet that's the ride of your life.
I bet that is. I mean, this is amazing. I mean, I didn't expect the whole flying part with it, especially with the retired fire pilot
yes,
in
fighter
the fire
pilot.
plane. I mean, this
Yep.
is the trainer fighter. I mean, this is just amazing. Again, just because I know we're short on time and I know you have to get out of here soon. So just so that people will know, it's April 16th. Is that correct?
Absolutely. April 16th, Sunday afternoon, April 16th from noon until 4. The plane ride will be available from 2 until 4. But the people who are going to show their cars will start arriving in the 11:15 range. We'll fill up the show field, and then we'll open the gates for the public to come in at noon.
Okay, wonderful. Well, we like to thank you so much for coming in. But before we go, I know you're tight on time, but I just have one question for you.
Sure.
A lot of times when you have these muscle cars and all of this masculine energy just flowing all over the place, you don't really associate a beautiful, well put together woman such as yourself
thank you.
with that. Could you talk about how women are, involved in this circle and how it is a feminine energy as well that's added to this masculine energy? Because when I think of muscle cars, I only think of men. I don't think of a woman such as yourself.
Well, let me tell you, there is a very large percentage of our membership in the Porsche Club that are women. There's specific women driving events, and there are track days where, we go out and drive. We do autocross, which is fun. It's harder than it looks to have your car at speed controlled going through the gates and trying to not run into cones, which is a challenge for me because I love to hit stuff, apparently. But the thing that was surprising to me, when I met my husband, I thought, okay, maybe I'm a weird girl that I like cars, but I've met so many wonderful women through the car hobby. It's just a total surprise, as you say, that you think it's going to be all masculine, and it's not. It's absolutely not. Some of our coolest members that have the coolest cars are girls.
That is amazing. And what would you like to tell young girls that have that affinity for high-powered cars as well, and they're not sure where they belong at in this space?
You know what? I would say to young women out there, you can do anything and you can have anything. You just have to go for it, right? You choose your path. And I think that we have the power to control our destiny. And for me, one of the things I wanted was a nice car. I sell real estate for a living, and I drive all day, and I'm going to have fun while I'm doing it, and I'm going to look good. So you can be anything if you want.